So you want to play Ultron, you want to get value out of him. I see a lot of people saying that Ultron is not a great healer, Ultron's a throw pick. It all comes down to managing your kit the best you can, having, of course, another good healer, as part of any support comp would be, and just knowing when and where to use your kit for DPS or support, because I see so many people prioritizing the DPS part. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to effectively heal with Ultron, how to effectively DPS with Ultron, how to balance it out so that you can heal your team efficiently and come out on top. First things first, I'll play Ultron. You want to know how to actually manage being a flying character. Now, I'm going to put a timestamp here for if you already know, like if you already played Human Torch or Storm or Iron Man, and you know how to manage being a flying character. But in case you don't, one thing I recommend is just use your descend keybind, which that sounds stupid to say out loud, but I see a lot of people like moving their camera up and down to actually descend and ascend. It's not really what you want to do, because you need to be able to hit enemies still, and just generally see what's going on with your team. So by using your descend and ascend keybinds, you can move your character around while still aiming well, and you're able to deal damage and whatnot without moving your camera much, while still moving around so you can avoid counters. In terms of other flying stuff, generally you actually want to stay close to your team, just because, especially for Ultron, in fact, say you have a drone on someone, you stay close to them, you're getting the same healing that they're getting. But in general, for flying characters, you want to stay close to avoid any anti-air characters that might be on the enemy team, any sort of counters, and also just to not single yourself out so you can get healing when you need it, and just generally not stray too far away. Another big thing to, of course, use is just general actual cover from behind the maps. You don't want to just be out in the open all the time. For example, if you ever need to reload, just go behind a wall and then pop back out. Or if you notice you're getting shot too much, you can quickly hide behind a wall, wait for healers. You want to keep yourself discreet while doing damage. A silent killer, essentially, while being a loud flyer. So, for example, you can sort of hang in the backline, almost, because your projectiles go far and they deal a lot of damage. And the same goes for Ultron. Because his M1s are infinite range, you can kind of hang around the backline and just deal consistent damage from across the map. Which is insane if you actually manage to get things down right. Now we can actually go into learning Ultron's kit before we actually learn how to utilize it. Starting off, his primary fire, his M1 Encephalo Ray, I think that's how you pronounce it. You'll do a long beam and then a burst of damage at the end. These are counted as two separate attacks, so you can initially miss your M1, your first primary beam, but if you manage to hit it on the burst, you can still do some damage, and it's counted as two separate accuracies. The initial accuracy and the secondary accuracy. Overall, this is obviously the main button you're going to be holding, your M1, and just dealing consistent damage while hanging around the backline. This is also good for taking down other flying characters, meaning you can aim for some Iron Man, or you can even aim for some healers in the backline, because the burst of damage is really good for just either warding them off or just straight up killing them. Now, next up is your right click. So for this one, it grants you a bit of shield to allies around you and to allies with the drone marked, which we'll talk about that in a bit. When you do use your shield, you'll notice there's a little radius around you that shows where your allies are getting shield. Now, I believe Ultron gets more shield than the allies. Yeah, more shield than the allies he gives it to. And the range isn't too big, if I'm correct. I believe it's the same range as Venom Snare? I might be wrong about that. Not gonna check right now. But Generally, you're going to want to spam this button like anytime you get it, because it doesn't give a whole lot of shield, but it can still increase survivability, and you're going to get a lot of bonus health generation in the long run. It's also good for self-sustainability, of course, but you're going to want to prioritize getting low around your team, around the person with the drone, and just consistently right-clicking to give shield when needed. Now, next up, the actual drone part. This, of course, attaches a drone to an ally. It gives consistent healing, more healing for the ally it's on than the allies around it. And you can also self-heal with this drone. Like, if I take a bit of damage here, I go over here, and I'm getting healed. Now, I see a lot of people complain that this is Ultron's only healing part, but there is a way you can effectively make use of that, and we'll get to that in the more advanced parts. And finally, of course, is his shift. I have mine on C because my fingers suck. It does a short burst of speed, and then you just have a speed buff for the next 8 seconds. This one, pretty much, you're going to want to prioritize it for just getting out of the way of damage. Like, if you notice you're taking a bit too much damage, you can just quickly dart away and get back to your team. There is an 8-second cooldown normally on it after the initial period of speed, so you're not going to have it consistently, and it's not recommended to just use it for the speed buffs. You want to pretty much primarily use it for getting away, or say if you need to quickly reach an ally who's out of your drone range, you can just quickly boost over and give them a drone. And then next up, of course, is his ultimate, which we'll actually touch base on later because it's definitely an interesting part of his kit. But let's talk about some actual strategies that you're going to want to employ while playing Ultron. First things first, drone management is the biggest part that you're going to have to learn with Ultron. Now, the hierarchy for what you want to put the drone on goes from tank, DPS, support. You want to prioritize putting it on the tanks who are frontlining. However, I will say, if you notice that the team is all gathered around, you can get a couple people in the drone radius and just get consistent healing. Generally, prioritize the drone on lower the health the more they need the drone. So you're going to want to keep it on tanks, definitely. You're going to want to keep it mostly on whoever's frontlining. You can put it on someone who is diving. However, I would say prioritize frontlines more than the dive. Because if they're diving, yeah, they're going to get healing, but you're not healing anyone else in that radius if they're in the enemy team's backline. So put it on any tanks that are in front so you can get good healing all around. But also, don't let the tank hog it. Don't put it all on one person. If you notice a DPS running back to the team on low health, you can quickly give them a drone to give them good healing, and then you can put it right back on the tank. In some scenarios, you can't really risk taking it off the tank, otherwise you lose the tank, which can be definitely tricky to manage when multiple people are low on health. And in some cases, if multiple people are low on health and you and the other healer aren't healing a lot, there's a good chance you're just going to straight up lose the fight. And it's not a healer issue, it's just because the enemy team's doing too much damage. Or it could be a healer issue. Maybe your Luna's doing... Just manage the drone, don't keep it on one person at a time. Consistently switch it around, and try to get most of the team in the drone's radius. In terms of other strategies, if you ever notice that you're taking damage, if you're ever doing stuff up in the air, just doing some DPS, and you notice you're getting low on heals, tank is on good health, you can quickly zoom down to a support and drone them, and you can give yourself some healing while sticking around and just doing consistent damage. You're going to want to be doing damage almost all the time while keeping your drone managed well. You don't want to prioritize DPS. You never do. That is the one mistake that I see Ultron players make constantly. They prioritize DPS over anything else. You want to make sure you're managing your drone as much as you're damaging. That's the way you get the even balance of damage and healing. And now, his ultimate. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not the best. Now, the primary thing I see people use it for is damage. Don't prioritize damage. You want to prioritize healing for your own team when you use it. Now, of course, it's not going to deal as much healing as, say, a Cloak and Dagger or a Luna or Invis or even Mantis ult, maybe. especially because you have to aim it yourself, and the range is nowhere as big as the big circles of invulnerability. However, it is very cheap to get. You're going to be, if you're doing everything right with Ultron, you're going to be getting your ult possibly 2 times per fight. It is very cheap and easy to get. And oftentimes you can get it within the first minute of a match if things are going right. The only time I would say it's proper to DPS with the ult is if you have another form of healing up. Say you have an Invis ult up, well then go ahead and DPS a bit. You're of course going to want to aim for the squishies first. It is very easily countered. Mag ult can counter it. Strange shield can counter it. Strange can just kind of go up to you like if it's a Hela ult. And again, you're going to want to prioritize healing. So it can be used as a method of pushing if you just consistently heal your team with it. However, rather than use it for pushing, I recommend your main priority for Ultron ult is to defend from DPS ults. Because the healing that you're going to do can out-heal stuff like Groot ult. Maybe Punisher ult. I actually haven't tested that theory. But it's just going to do a lot of healing to counter DPS ults. And of course, you can use it to counter support ults in a pinch, especially if you feel like your team is about to get wiped. But overall, prioritize healing, and if there is another form of a healing ult up, or if your team is just doing generally well in a fight, you can DPS. It's a case like Loki, where you want to prioritize healing with your M1s, but if the team is doing good, you can damage a bit. Try and just balance overall. And now, next up, perhaps the one thing I see so many people getting wrong. The Iron Man team-up. The Iron Man team-up damage is shit. Genuinely don't recommend using it for DPS. I'm going to show a difference between the primary M1 and the Iron Man team-up M1 damage. It takes half of the team-up's duration to do a kill on a 250 health Galactobot. Do not use it to DPS because you are not going to get kills. I have yet to get a kill with the team-up on Ultron. And in general, you just want to use it for its other capability, healing. Look at how much health I'm healing. And it's infinite ammo, by the way. With a drone on them, you can essentially make them immortal with the team-up. Almost never go for DPS when you have this team-up out, and only use it if you notice that your team is in a pinch. Essentially use it the same way you would a natural healer ult. Because otherwise, if you're just using it for damage, you're not going to get a kill for shit! Just use your primary M1, because the burst damage it does at the end will kill way faster than the team-up will. So when you're playing Ultron, you're of course going to have his matchups. Now, number one matchup, easily, is the anti-air snipers. Hawkeye, Hela, Black Widow. Believe it or not, Black Widow is a good counter to Ultron because she is a sniper. And with the new Punisher team-up, she can actually be a threat to you if she's focusing you. Doesn't make her the best character in the game, no shit, but still. Any character that is hit scan essentially counters you, especially Star-Lord. I see not a lot of people swap Star-Lord for anti-air. More people choose Hela, Hawkeye, or even Punisher, which Punisher does indeed counter you. The reason that all those characters like that counter you is they can stand in one spot, they're hit scan, they can shoot you from across the map. Iron Fist and Spider-Man. A lot of people use Iron Fist as anti-air, Spider-Man as anti-air. Yes, they do counter you in a sense, but they have to get close in order to hit you. Which, with your M1 damage, you can pretty much, if you're just focusing them, and if your team is actually helping you with them, you can damage them enough to sort of ward them off back to their healers, or just straight up kill them. Better option. I'll put a snippet of me playing a custom game with Ultron, and my playstyle with him, to show you how to better efficiently use Ultron, and get insane value out of him, possibly even getting the most healing in the game. Because Ultron has potential. You just gotta unlock it.
Assemble! That put a spring in my step. Pulse charge.
I've known better than to betray me. That is much better.
Alright, Ty.
Satisfying. Angry little squid? Gotta be a game mode better.
You stop them in their tracks. Only 60 seconds left.
That's better.
That's the boost I needed.
Double kill! Disappear! Us against the world! Power time!
I'll be ship-shape in no time.
Behold the god of